I knew how to speak to these guys. The gang members, the Chinese gangs, worked for the Tongs. The Tongs were the organized crime people. They were like different families, and the gang members are the people that would get out and lean on the public, shake them down, and they all had rooster haircuts, and we had the flying dragons, the ghost shadows. Each gang had their own territory. And then the Vietnamese came in and they had their own thing too. So I got to know how this all worked. So 1991, George Bush came to the New York City Police Department and said, listen, we're gonna open up a joint federal task force and we're gonna break it down into 3 different teams. Give me 30 of your best detectives. And these guys are gonna work. They're gonna be cross-designated as U.S. Marshals. It'll be a federal team. We'll bring a member of the DEA into your team. We'll bring an FBI agent into your team. If you need the Marines, we'll put the Marines in your team. That's how big this one. It was a big fight against drugs. So I went for the interview, and I sat down, and it was an Asian lieutenant. And I didn't want to do Colombians because I worked Colombians doing drug cases when I worked in Queens. I didn't want to do that. I got tired of cocaine and what have you. And I didn't want to do the Jamaican drug gangs, okay? Because I really didn't understand it. So this guy's interviewing me, and he was amazed at how much I knew about the Asian gangs and what have you. He says to me, would you be interested in being an undercover? I said, an undercover how? He says, would you want to be our undercover buying drugs? So I said, well, what's in it for me? He says, well, I'll make sure within 2 years you get promoted. Now, there'd be a nice bump. I didn't have to do this. It was completely voluntary, but he hung the carrot in front of my nose, and he was going to get me promoted again. So I said, yeah. And what I did was I created a character. That was a character that I made up. I made up a whole scenario. There was a guy on Long Island.
You had it yourself?
I was acting.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a guy on Long Island named Phil Basile, who owned all of the nightclubs on Long Island. Okay, restaurants, nightclubs. He was well known. He wasn't a made guy. He was an associate to organized crime. He gave Henry Hill a no-show job, and then he later got locked up for doing so. Now, Mr. Basile, he had a number of nephews. They were all over the place. Who's working in this club? Who's what? So what I did was I took his last name and I took my first name, and I created a character named Louie B. Okay. I used my grandmother's address in Ozone Park. I'll show you in a minute or two. I had a whole different set of identity. I was a different person. You know Donnie Brasco?
Well, you were paid while you're doing this stuff?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. They removed me from the police computer.
Okay.
I didn't go to precincts. I basically drove into the DEA headquarters, and I had to go from floor to floor with a fingerprint, and I didn't do any police enforcement work. I was just we sent out something called a 49, which is a big memo, went out to all the precincts, and they said anybody who's arrested throughout the city that is dealing in China white heroin, my team had to go out and speak to them. Now, I didn't do this. The other guys went out. And then they tried to hook up with them, and then if they got an informant, they would bring me in. And I would sit down with the guy just like we're sitting here, and I decide, do I want to work with this guy? If he wants to, is he rolling? Do I want to work with this guy, or do they not want to work with this guy? If I felt I could develop a relationship with him, then I'd have that guy introduce me as another heroin player, okay? And it's scary, it's a little scary. The first thing I did.
Were you single when you were doing this?
Excuse me? No, I was going through a divorce.
Oh.
Okay? And,
Tom, if I could interject, we're jumping backwards in his career. When Louie started, now this is William Steele behind the scenes, we're still rolling. When he was a foot patrolman just starting off the Lower East Side, I was hardcore in the middle of doing the wrong thing. And I was up in that same precinct, his same post, almost every day, sometimes 5 times a day, going to cop or do dirt while he was on patrol.
he was actually running in and out of I had a specific post that I patrolled that was mine. I was 32 block faces that I patrolled all by myself, on foot, in uniform. It was in and out of the projects, in and out of the side streets.
One of the most dangerous areas in New York City at that time, 1985, 86. And now look at us today. I did 18 years in prison. This man's been a career law enforcement, and now we're friends and co-hosts.
It's wonderful.
I hold nothing against anybody. We all have,
Yeah.
you know, some people have skeletons in their closet.
Yeah.
Some people have a graveyard. I have skeletons, you know, but it is what it is. And I hold nothing. I don't care what he did yesterday. I like the way he treats me today. That's just the kind of guy I was.
Are you worried about talking about a lot of
Absolutely
this?
not.
No?
Absolutely not. I did my job, okay? I'm from a family of 14 cops, and I policed the way I policed. This is who I was. To my credit, I had 6 opportunities to take a human life, and I killed nobody. Because my dad said to me, my dad was a plainclothes cop back in the day. He worked with Frank Serpico, and you know, he was back in the day when cops were cops, and things were different. Corruption was in, and my dad will tell you, everything was smooth when corruption was in. Everything was taken care of. Now, my dad would never take money for drug dealers, this and that, but there were other things. I mean, if you didn't, it was an unwritten benefit that everybody got a little taste, okay? And if you didn't get a little taste.
I got beaten up by cops once because I was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I was doing a story about cops on the take, and they were collecting money from so forth, and I used to go follow them. And I would hide in the car, you know, and watch them and everything. And it was very dangerous. And then a couple of times I got pulled over
roughed you up.
and taken into the.
Okay.
To the
Well, one of the things I prided myself in, I was shaking and moving when I was a youngster. I never took a dime. Okay. I never took drug money. I never shook anybody down. Okay. I would never flake somebody. In other words, let's just say there's Coke over here. I wouldn't say it was yours. Okay, it belongs to everybody. I wouldn't stick it on, you know, I wouldn't throw stuff in a car and lock you up. That's called flaking. That wasn't one of the things I did. I was a very heavy-handed cop. I would open your head as quick as I looked at you. And you're under arrest. I never took those words back. When I said you're under arrest, the handcuffs are going on while you're standing like a gentleman, or you're gonna be on the floor with my foot in your ass, okay? And we had something that we called a wooden shampoo, which meant you're gonna get a beaten with my stick, and then you're gonna go to the hospital, and you're gonna get a Brooklyn party hat, which was a big turban, because I was gonna open your head for you. And people respected that. Fear equal compliance. We had rules. The people knew the rules, we knew the rules. If you ran, you're getting hit.
That's how I can vouch for that. In those days, like friends of mine who stole cars and stuff back in the day, if they got chased and they ran from the police, if they caught them, they got the beating of their lives before they took them to jail.
You know, within reason. If you hurt a cop, you're going to the hospital. Okay? If you shot it out with a cop, you really try to kill a cop, things weren't going to be good for you. Okay? But people understood. Okay? Just the way it was. I did stuff that I shouldn't have done. It was off base, but people respected me, and I showed respect in return. Now, on the post that I was in, it was full of drugs, and I was a ball breaker. What I would do is if I could catch a dealer, I'd take the dealer. If I couldn't take the dealer, I would take the the buyers, because it's supply and demand. So if I could break the buyers' balls, the drug dealers couldn't sell. And the way I handled things was I knew every crack in the sidewalk. And I knew on Friday night, Saturday night, here comes Anthony with his father's Cadillac. It's his father's car. He pulls up and he parks, and I'm sitting there. I was working in plain clothes at the time, and gets out of the car. He's got a $10 bill in his hand. He's walking up and down. I know what he's doing. He's looking at a cop. He's looking to buy drugs. Okay, so I'd run the plate on his car. This way, I have a little information. And how you doing there, buddy? What are you doing over here? I'm waiting for a friend. This is a common story. I'm waiting for my friend. Oh, all right, good. That's your car over there? Yeah. Who owns it? You own it? No. Who owns it? My father does. I already know that. You have ID? He gives me his ID. I take it down. All right. Okay, good. So who you meeting here? A friend. All right, I got you. What's your friend's name? I don't know. All right. Where's he live? I don't really know. I said, this is a pretty rough area over here. I don't want to see nothing happen to you. I said, how about, let's go over here. I'll give you a quarter. We'll make a call. We'll call him down. He goes, I don't know his number. I said, well, how'd you know to meet him here? Okay, and then you go, I don't know. Bang, I'd smack him, shot in the face. Before he expected, I'd ring his bell. Bang! He would go, he says, listen to me, you motherfucker. Okay, I know who you are. I know what you're doing. Okay, I just gave you a smack in the face. That's a smack your father should have gave you. Because I know what's going to happen to you. You're going to give that $10 bill to some guy. So last time you're going to see that $10 bill, and last time you're going to see that guy, then you're going to walk into my precinct and say you got robbed. You didn't get robbed, you got rolled. Now get your fucking ass out of here. Take your car. If I catch you back here again, I'm locking you up and I'm going to take your father's car from him. Condition corrected. If I did that today, they would lock me up. But
That was effective, though.
that's the way I rolled. Now, being on that post that I was on, I had a guy throw a car battery off the roof. Just missed me. Okay, and another time I was talking to a gentleman, and from a window, 10 stories, 9 stories, and a crystal ashtray came flying out, missed me, I ducked, hit this poor man in the face. And I think till this day, he probably still has glass in his face. It was getting heated up. I was doing stuff where I was controlling the drugs. We had a pool, Pitt Street Pool, remember Pitt Street Pool? Mm-hmm. Okay, it was on my post. Around 10 o'clock at night, the pool was closed, and all of the drug dealers and whatever used to come in there, set up music and this and that, and they were selling drugs. So it was on my post. I had to complain, I had to do what I had to do. So what I did was, I got everybody on that was working 4 to 12s, because I work steady 4 to 12. I said, listen, fellas, I need some help tonight. At around 10:30, I'm gonna call a gun run in the pool, which means I'm gonna call a man with a gun, okay? And say the pool was here, okay? Square pool. I'd say, listen, Bill, you take this side here, you take this side here, you take this side in case we have any runners, and I got the keys for the pool, so we're gonna go right in. So everybody goes in, okay? And we beat the shit out of everybody. Everybody got hit, nightsticks. The drugs, this and that, threw all the drugs away. Throw in the pool, everybody got hit. Just throw everybody beaten, okay? Now, the way I got everybody to come into the pool was I'd walk across the street on the other side of Houston Street. It was the 9th precinct, that was a divider line. So I'd pick up the phone and go, hello? Hey, there's a man in the pool, he gotta go, he gonna shoot somebody. You better get the police over here. He gonna kill somebody. I'm afraid my kid, help, ah! I hang up the phone. And then we all know what's going on. So everybody's listening. They know I'm doing this. And you hear, beep, 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 beep. Units, we have a man with a gun, Pitt Street Pool. Come over to 911 radio, and you hear 7 Charlie, 7 Anna, everybody's responding. It's a man with a gun. And then everybody got tuned up. And then I'd give back the radio. Make that a 1090 X-ray, gone on arrival.
Nobody there.
okay? Nobody was there. Everybody got a beat. I had to do that twice, and they never went back there again.
I got a question for you. Let's segue into something else.
Go ahead.
You know Joan London?
Who?
Joan London?
Yeah.
You know her?
I don't know her personally.
You know who she is, though,
Yeah.
right? Journalist, very famous journalist.
Yeah.
He had a very special relationship with her. Tell that story.
There was a guy, he remembers him, on the Lower East Side, a Spanish guy who was in a wheelchair. You could say he had no muscles in his legs, but he was a drug dealer, and I could never catch him. Okay, and one day I went over and I talked to him and whatever, and he says, "Hey, listen, I found a pocketbook. Found a pocketbook. Give me a pocket. It was a wallet actually. It was Joan London's ID, and the money was gone, but I had all her stuff. I reached out, I called her. I never got to her. I got to her assistant or whatever, and they came down and got the wallet. She never called me, never said 2 words, never acknowledged that I.
No thanks.
No thanks. It's just the way it is.
And another very special relationship with a favorite of ours, Donald Trump.
Yes. I was working in the narcotics division. I worked with a boss named Bill Ali, who was my mentor. He was hated. I loved him. That was just me. This guy was a wealth of knowledge. He taught me how to be an undercover. He told me everything I needed to know. I'm walking by his office. He goes, "Louie!" I said, "What's the matter, boss?" He goes, "Get your sergeant and get a Spanish undercover that you could work with." It's all right. Get in. Close the door. He said, "Listen, Donald Trump's people, okay, in the Plaza Hotel, okay, on 59th Street. They got a guy in there dealing drugs." All right. He says, "Louie, you're the case officer." He said to my sergeant, "Victor, you're going to run the case, okay? I'm going to oversee everything." And I picked this guy who was a Spanish undercover, could speak Spanish. Nice guy.
This is when Trump opened the plaza?
Yeah. Okay, this is 1989. So Donald Trump, I never met him per se. I met his people. Okay, we had a big meeting and what have you. Let me know what's going on because I'm the case officer. I got to run the show, and there's a guy in there selling 8 balls. You know what an 8 ball is? 1/8 of an ounce of coke. Okay. No big deal. This is not the Medellin cartel. It's a guy selling 8 balls. Millions of people sold 8 balls, all right? But it's Donald Trump, we gotta make a big splash, okay? And when I tell you, I put together a case, okay? I gave it to the DA's office with bows, ribbons. This guy had no wiggle room. I made sure that the undercover was video recording everything. We shot pictures, we got this, we got that. And then my lieutenant, the day we locked him up, I bought this guy, we had this guy. We bought him several times. So he had a lot of charges on him. He was in his 50s, and the day we locked him up, my lieutenant came out and put the handcuffs on him. I said, "Come on, Lou, it's my case." "Shut up." Put him in his car and he drove to the DA's office. Okay, when I got there, all the paperwork was done. So all I had to do was sign it and swear to it. Okay? This guy, of course, he got arrested. Now I'm down there interviewing the guy, and everybody I interviewed, I always try to create an informant. That was one of the things I could do well. Now, if I locked you up for drugs, you're not gonna give up Bill, who you're buying your drugs from. But what I would do is say, "Listen, I can help you out if you help me out. Okay? I don't expect you to rat on your buddies. Let me ask you a question. You know them guys over there who shot the kid on the corner? What do you know about that?" You give me the information I want, because what he's doing, he's giving up his enemies. And that's the way I played it. And then I'd say, "All right, get your lawyer down here." I made him an informant. And that's how I worked. I didn't work like any other guy. I did my own thing, you know. From working in and around organized crime people, I had a cousin of mine who was a sharp guy. What I learned was Look for weakness. Everybody has a weakness. Look for weakness, okay? I try never to tip my hand, okay? I don't want you to know my weakness, all right? I went to Las Vegas to the mob summit, and there was a lot of people there, okay? They'd swear on a stack of Bibles. I walked through the gambling casinos eating an ice cream cone. Who does that? Me. You know why? I don't gamble. I had drinks. You know what kind of drinks I had? Bloody Marys. At dinner, a glass of wine. I wasn't drunk. You'll never see me drunk. My wife saw me drunk once. That's just who I am. I'm in control. And another thing I do is I look and watch and wait, and I control the controllers, because when you control the controllers, it puts you in control.
Michael, Moda would enjoy meeting Lou here.
Michael Moda, businessman up in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
He's gonna give me a venue to use to do another event up in Rhode Island.
Yeah. He would love to talk to you. He's a very interesting guy.
I was unique, and I tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't bullshit you.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're the real thing. And Moda plays, theatrically with mobsters and all that. With the series that he's always doing.
He's the guy who hosts the Sopranos conference.
Okay.
He puts it on every year.
To substantiate what I tell you,
Yeah.
there's a friend of mine named Dan Murphy. He's got a podcast called Gold Shields. He was part of my field team. They were my backup. Now, I work with a group of guys, but only certain people I trusted, because when I went out, I worked alone. And when I worked alone, I didn't want to go out with Bill as my, because they'll separate us. They'll ask him questions, they'll ask me questions. If they don't match,
The same thing when I was in a life of crime. I worked by myself.
oh, always. One
Because
story,
then I only
one.
have to worry about my own
That's
slip-ups.
correct.
Nobody's out
That's
there to tell on
correct.
me. No guy that I'm
That's
working with is going to
correct.
tell his girlfriend. The girlfriend
That's
they're going to break it
correct.
up. The girlfriend's going to tell the police everything. Then
That's
the guy's going to
correct.
rule on me. The best thing I ever did early on in my crime career was work alone.
Okay? I worked as an undercover alone. Now, as I said before, I created this guy, and I created a story, and the story was so good, you'd put your teeth into it. Anybody would hear what I have to say. And I learned how to do this from this lieutenant at the time. He became the chief of detectives. His name was Bill Ali. May God rest his soul. He passed away. He was hated. I loved him. I loved the man, okay? Because people, you had to get beyond his rough attitude.
Yeah.
And I just listened. He said to me, when you go do business, you do a drug buy, you make sure you leave yourself a front door and a back door to escape, okay? And what he meant by that is, I always had to check with somebody, okay? I had a front door. The front door was the guy who worked for me. The rear door was, I got to talk to my uncle. So I don't make final decisions, okay? So if I got myself, listen, I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying, but I got to talk to my partner. I got to talk to my guy.
That way you can brainstorm it or get some guidance about
Exactly.
which direction investigation goes.
Because then, but what I said was, listen, how you doing? You meet for the first time. I'm in the pizza restaurant business, which I did. I was in the pizza restaurant business. Going through a nasty divorce, need to make some fast cash. I throw powder out on the street. Okay, I got a guy, his name is Johnny Wood, black guy. He runs my spots out in the Hamptons. Okay, I gotta sell the finest heroin there is, China White, and I'm selling it to these white boys. I don't do drugs, I want nothing to do with drugs, okay? My uncle is the money man. He finances us, he's a heavy hitter, okay? You'll deal with me. If you bring, yes.
For the record and for the YouTube algorithms, he's talking about his career in law enforcement.
Yes.
We're not encouraging crime. We're doing crime prevention here and entertainment.
Yes.
And he's explaining how he operated in an undercover capacity as a detective.
I'm telling the way I operated. Everybody else had their own thing, their own script. And this is what I said. I said, listen, don't bring me a girlfriend. I got my own rules, all right? Don't bring me a girlfriend. Don't bring me a wife. You're not sending me Christmas cards, okay? That's who I am. I don't want to know nothing about you. I don't want to know your mother, your father, your sister, okay? When I say I'm gonna be here at 1 o'clock, you got 20 minutes. Otherwise I leave, because I know that you guys are notorious for running off. It's not me. I do my business, I'm on my way. When I say I got cash, I got cash. We understand each other, okay? I'm not looking to hurt you, you're not gonna hurt me. Okay, I'm well spoken for, okay? And they put their teeth into this, and this is what I did, and it worked real well.
Oh, so-
Well, we're gonna wrap this filming segment up. We can continue talking off camera here. Thank you for joining William Steele True Crime, Still a Spotlight Television. Joining us off camera is Tom Madden, former CEO of NBC and ABC before that. Oh, excuse
That's
me,
fantastic.
Vice President,
Yeah, right.
and CEO of Transmedia Public Relations in Boca Raton.
It's
And
an absolute pleasure to meet you.
we're
Great to
going
meet
to say
you.
goodbye to my
You're quite-
audience
you're
real
quite a
quick.
character.
Louie Ballesteri, former New York City. Balistrieri, Louie B, my co-host on William Steele True Crime on Rumble and on YouTube and on Still Spotlight Television now. Thank you for joining us, Louie.
Good night, guys.